Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining me today is Catherine Snyder. She's from the Fitchburg Historical Society. Catherine, thank you for stopping in. Always a pleasure, and thank you for putting up with us trying to get these bookings down. We certainly appreciate it. For behind the scenes, she's really nice. Nice to work with when I'm not so nice on getting back to her sometimes. So I appreciate the time as always. We're talking about this weekend. You've got your annual meeting coming up, and focused on a really cool topic. I've seen two different titles here, so I'm going to go with the one I think it is,
Uh-huh.
and it's how the great battle for women's suffrage was won.
Exactly.
Does that sound right?
That's it. That's it. You got it, Jeremy. Thank you. Well, it's always a pleasure to be here, too, and have the opportunity to tell folks about our program coming up on Sunday. So November 3rd, 1:30, Fitchburg Public Library is the location, second floor. So 2019 marks the 100th anniversary of Wisconsin ratifying the 19th Amendment to the Constitution of the United States, which gave women the right to vote. And so we're very excited to offer a program focused on that. And our guest speaker, actually we have two guest speakers, so I should start with our first speaker will be a short introduction to our local history of voting in Fitchburg by our own Winnie Lacey, who has been a longtime poll worker and member of the Fitchburg Historical Society. So we're very happy she's doing some research on our local voting.
I love Winnie. She stops in and visit us from time to time. Such a lovely person.
Yeah,
And,
she's just
that's going to be awesome.
She's excited to offer that. And then our main speaker will be Bob Kahn, who is well known in the area for his local storytelling and his own research, historical research, and children's books. But he also does adult programs, and this one will be on a topic that he's done a lot of research on. So he will be telling the Wisconsin story of the 19th Amendment and how Wisconsin's women, in fact, were very involved in the suffrage movement. And actually, locally and statewide, trying to push for the state to pass laws to have women's suffrage. However, those were unsuccessful for several years in the early 1900s. Voters rejected. In fact, in 1912, 63% of the male voters voted against having women have the right to vote.
Amazing to me.
Amazing,
Amazing.
isn't it? Well, I think the idea was that women were looked upon as their role was primarily in the home and raising children, and so politics was a little bit not for their role in life, and that they were to be kept pure in the home, and that sort of mentality was, I think, what kept the male voters saying.
You said that a lot nicer than I would have said it. You think things were different. I was thinking like maybe the wartime had, different wars maybe played a big role in that too. But
well, certainly after World War I think there were changes in people's attitudes, and actually the women's right to vote was taken more on the federal level then. The emphasis was to get the federal, the national constitution changed so that women could have universal suffrage all over the country. So rather than state by state, it would be done over the whole country. So Belle LaFollette was one of the leading advocates from Wisconsin. She was married to Fighting Bob LaFollette from the Progressive era. She spoke around the country for 64 straight days about women's suffrage. So she spoke to the United States Senate about it, advocating for women's suffrage. So she was very prominent in that battle. So I wanted to say there was a lot of courage, perseverance, political savvy to get this amendment finally passed. And it did pass 3/4 of the states, as we remember from our constitutional law, 3/4 of the states of the United States need to pass an amendment for it to be ratified and become part of the Constitution. That did happen finally in 1920, in August of 1920. But Wisconsin was the first state to officially ratify that constitutional change.
Wow.
So we have that distinction.
On Wisconsin?
Yes, on Wisconsin. Good for us.
No, I assume it's going to be a great topic to explore. I'm sure it'll open up some questions for today and where we are today. And it's hard to believe that wasn't that long ago.
Well, actually, yes, I was just thinking, I was talking to my husband about this today. My mother was born in January of 1921, so she was born just a few months after that right became available to women. My mother-in-law was born in 1915, and so she was born without the right to vote. So between my mother-in-law and my mother, that amendment got passed. So it doesn't seem like to my perspective, looking at my mother and mother-in-law, not that long ago that amendment was passed. I did want to mention that this program is being co-sponsored. We have partners with the Dane County Historical Society and the Fitchburg Public Library. So we're getting the word out that this is a very significant program that we're all offering together.
Yeah, this is going to be great discussion, and getting an update too from you guys as well as what's happening at the Historical Society is always nice, and hopefully some people jump over, check out the Fitchburg room over there, and see what's going on. But yeah, great stuff, and I think that only laid the foundation for today, and it's hard to believe that. We're seeing more women in politics and
yes, presidential race
and
candidates,
businesses
for instance,
and owning businesses. And my wife runs a business for her and I, and it's amazing. There's still like a lot of challenges that I would have never thought of. But it's a good story, and it's going to be great.
Yeah, I think we're very excited about it, and hope lots of people will come out for it. Just to know that the Packer game is after our program. We planned it so the Packer game will be at 3:30. Our program is at 1:30, so everyone will have a chance to do both.
Very smart, very smart. Catherine, again, coming up this Sunday, November 3rd, 1:30 to 3 p.m. over at the Fitchburg Public Library meeting room. Stop on up. It's going to be a great talk, and again, hearing from everybody at the Historical Society is always good. In fact, TV will be coming out covering this and recording it. So if you can't make it out, we'll recap some of it coming up here on our next time that you and I visit. We can talk a little bit about it, but we'll be talking about it on Talking Fitchburg here on Monday. We'll take you back out to it for a little short recap. So,
great.
Catherine, always a pleasure. We'll see you on Sunday.
Thanks so much, Jeremy.
All right, we'll take a quick break. You are watching Talking Fitchburg.